So, friends, yesterday we were talking about the mulki non-mulki issues in Hyderabad state, how various issues have been addressed leading to the farmans of 1919 and 1933. When I give the notes, I will also give some points, essential points on this, which will be shared with you on Friday. So we'll move on to the other important aspects of the first unit. The most important aspect here is the whole issue of integration of Hyderabad princely states into Indian Union. And before that, that is of course after the independence, right? 1947 independence. But before that, there are certain points which you will have to understand. Yesterday we have discussed the mulki and non-mulki developments and all that. In 1919, we also have Nizam Subjects League, which is representing a first kind of association for perpetuating the interests of Telangana, and later it has become the Mulki League. Yesterday's discussion we were referring to it, if you remember, 1919 Farman and all that. So apart from that, a very significant development, and before we actually take up the integration of Hyderabad state, we also need to understand certain aspects about MIM. Okay? There may not be any question on MIM directly in the mains, but you need to understand this. This is actually Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin. MIM means Majlis Okay, this is the full form of MIM, and friends, MIM is very important in the sense that it has played a very key role in the developments right from 1927 to 1948, when we have this integration in September, union and integration. We'll talk about this. So it played a very key role, and it is also important that we also need to understand something called Rajakas, which are voluntary force associated with this. So before we actually take up the issue of integration, let me give you some basic points about MIM, okay, which is Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin. So without understanding this and Rajakar, we cannot actually go into the integration issue. So basically the sequence, as you see, yesterday we have talking about the 1919 Farman. Just now I also explained about Nizam Subjects League, which is an important thing, which is later called as Mulki League. Then 1933 Farman, and of course the issue of Mulki and non-Mulki. The last important aspect in our, some of the important aspects in the first unit is integration. So MIM and Rajakars, these are the two important side events that played very key role in the developments pertaining to the Hyderabad state integration. You can switch on that fan if you want. Integration. So friends, this is a very, very influential organization in Hyderabad state, in the last 2 decades, roughly from 1927 when it was founded and up to 1948, and of course even today we have MIM, though its nature, objectives and everything has changed very well. MIM was very influential because we have one interesting person who had set this up, is Nawab Abjad. Okay, this man was an young man, in fact he died at a very young age, but then he was a very, very influential speaker, very flamboyant young man who actually can influence his audience, his subjects very well. In fact, there are 2 great orators. The Indian national movement, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was also a very good orator. Jawaharlal Nehru was also a very good orator. In Hyderabad state, if you see, this Nawab Jang is considered to be very, very good orator, and he was effectively able to communicate to the majority of the Muslims in Hyderabad state that it is actually the time for ascendancy of the Muslims and re-emergence of Muslim power and all that. So this is founded by Arjun, Arjun, okay, and by 1944 it has become a very, very influential organization with very close contacts with Mir Usman Ali Khan, 7th Nizam, right? So it is as a supplementary body to this, we have another important association which played key role in all these developments and created a lot of controversies also. That is the issue of the body of Rajakars. The meaning of Rajakars is volunteers. Okay? So Rajakars means volunteers. So ideally, this is by Qasim Rizvi, Qasim. You can also write Q. QASM is the old way of writing Qasim, but people are also using Qasim, KSAM. Qasim Rizvi. He had become very close to MIM founder Riyad Jang, and he was almost like number 2 leader in this MIM, but he headed this volunteer body of Rajakars. So when this man died by 1944, as I said, this person died very young. So he had also become the undisputed leader of MIM, and he became very close to the Nizam also, Hyderabad Nizam, the last Nizam, Mir Usman Ali Khan, he became very close. And he was so close that he was even playing politics to change the prime ministers. There was a good prime minister called Mir Ismail, and Qasim Rizvi had changed him. In fact, he changed him. And then we have somebody called Laik Ali, his close associate. He made him prime minister of Hyderabad state by removing Mir Ismail, and like that he gained a lot of influence on Hyderabad state, on Hyderabad Nizam. And okay, he also brought out some very controversial slogans like Anal Musalman, that means, I am the ruler. Every Muslim in Hyderabad state should feel like he is the ruler. So we should have the ownership of the state and perpetuate the Islamic state concept. So this is how Qasim Rizvi became very popular, and he also took over MIM. So after 1944, MIM and Rajakars became almost the same thing. Rajakars are the voluntary force of MIM, and MIM leadership was also taken over by Qasim Rizvi. Now, why are we talking this? Friends, you need to understand there are a lot of dynamics that went into the making of Hyderabad integration. Why it was not so smooth? For example, if you see entire Indian history broadly, June 3rd plan was announced by Mountbatten, stating that we will have freedom into India by August 15th. By June 3rd, we have 56 princely states in India. Remember this. Okay, anyway, in the notes also it will be there. But by June 3rd, so 56 princely states are there. Between June 3rd to August 15th, 53 were seamlessly integrated by the virtue of Sardar Patel, the statesman of India. So he had already completed the integration of 53 states. Then only 3 are there. One is Junagadh, the second one is Kashmir, the third one is Hyderabad. Now our interest here in Telangana movement, the first phase is integration of Hyderabad. Now why? Why is it that Hyderabad integration was not completed by 1947 along with others? Why is it that a long time was given, a long road was given to Hyderabad Nizam, till September 13th. September 13th was the police action began, and September 17th is the completion. 18th Nizam Commander-in-Chief held over surrender. So 5 days, within 5 days, the whole thing was actually completed, right? So what I am trying to tell you is, basically, if you understand the dynamics of the MIM and the Rajakar, what kind of impact it had on the integration of Hyderabad state into this Indian Union, You will need to know this. There is another parallel current which we will see in Telangana history, but not here. That is armed struggle. You know, in fact, we have a fusion of different developments. On one side, we have armed struggle, which is led by communists but participated by large number of exploited peasants who revolted against the Doras in Telangana, the Jamidars, Jagirdars in Telangana. On the other hand, we have Rajakars who are trying to perpetuate the whole concept of the, you know, every Muslim is a ruler and trying to influence Hyderabad state. That is one cross current. So, the entire situation in Telangana, especially from 1945, middle of the 1945 to 47, is very, very conflicted. There is lot of violence, there are lot of issues. Rajakar violence was there, landlords violence was there, armed resistance was given by the peasantry and all these things. It is in this conflicting situation that we got freedom. So when we got freedom, Hyderabad was just, it was burning. You know, Telangana. Hyderabad means Telangana. You know, we have lot of armed struggle, terrible stories, which we will talk in Telangana history paper, not here. But this turmoil, the conflict in Hyderabad by 1947 is one of the reasons for Sardar Patel to not to press immediately for the integration. Okay, when we already have a problem, why do you want to increase the problem by bringing it more? So this is the scenario. So before we go to the 1947 developments, June 3rd developments and integration of Hyderabad state, I want you to understand the context. The context is, one is the strong influence of MIM, 1944 onwards the strong influence of Rajakars and their some of the atrocities committed by them. MIM and Rajakars became one because of Qasim Razvi after the demise of Yarjung, and the Prime Minister of Hyderabad state, Nayak Ali, was also a follower of Qasim Razvi. So Nizam was actually helpless. You know, there is some criticism of Nizam on why he was encouraging all these things. But you know, we have scholars like Tirumali, who is a very good JNU scholar. You have to mention them in the exam to get some marks. Okay, and we have Pingle. Pingle also, you know, wrote a book on Telangana movement. He was a very good, well-known scholar on this. Okay, so all these scholars, whether it is Pingle or whether it is Tirumalai, they do say that even we have other intellectuals who are pro-Telangana think tank like N Venugopal. All these people do say that it is not that Nizam was actually a bad man, but he himself was very confused in 1948. You know, because imagine somebody losing their state is not a joke. If our house is asked for, you know, road widening, we get worried, yes or no? So Nizam was a ruler, he is the richest ruler. So when the freedom was being given, when this transition process, there was a lot of confusion for him. So administrative laxity was there, a law and order situation was bad. This is the context for Hyderabad, this context for integration of Hyderabad. By June 1947, when June 3rd plan was there, how are the things that have happened? That is one important point you need to know. Now, Let us go in order to explain this. First of all, June 3rd, as I already said, June 3rd plan was a clear indication that the freedom is going to be given. Only 3 are left. 56 are there. The effort started. So immediate reaction of Nizam after June 3rd plan, after June 3rd plan is to try to remain as independent. For this, he had explored 2 scenarios. One, either negotiating with Indian government to be part of Indian Union with autonomy like British India. He was also trying to put forth an argument that even in British India, British was the overall ruler, so I will continue to be the ruler of Hyderabad, which was not possible in a democracy. But that was his immediate effort. Second effort is, if Indian government is not ready to agree for this, he put forth the same proposal to Pakistan that he can be with Pakistan, but he can try to be independent, autonomous ruler. The problem here is geographical contiguity. You know, Patel and Nehru always argued that the people's choice in joining India or Pakistan should be accepted. It is people's choice, not the ruler's choice. Okay? So in areas where it is required, a plebiscite can be conducted, like Junagadh for example. Junagadh, a plebiscite was conducted, right? Finally it agreed to be with India. It was a Muslim ruler there, Nawab, but then majority of the Hindu subjects. So it conducted plebiscite and it joined. So geographical contiguity is very, very important. For instance, assuming that Hyderabad state, Nizam would team up with Pakistan. He would sign the accession agreement with Pakistan. Where is Pakistan? Where is India? Where is Hyderabad? Hyderabad is almost like heart of India, a bit down, but you know, below Maharashtra we have, right? If you see Daulatabad or Aurangabad, all this Maharashtra is in the center, Paitan, that's why it was Shatwana capital. Okay, so Hyderabad, you can't have a Pakistan in the heart of India. So geographical contiguity is one important point. Chart is not turned on. Sorry guys, chart is not turned on. I just turned it on. If you have any doubts, you please ask me. Okay, so geographical contiguity is not applicable to Hyderabad, but then why immediately Patel and Nehru did not want to force Hyderabad state to join? June, August they would have forced it. There are 2-3 points here. First of all, Junagadh and other states are smaller states. All other principalities, are smaller states. For example, even Baroda is also very small compared to Hyderabad. It is no. Hyderabad is the largest princely state. Okay. Second, the ground realities in Hyderabad was different. The first priority for Government of India is to ensure law and order. The parallel developments of armed struggle, the parallel developments of Rajakar violence has to be factored in. The Government of India and Patel did not want to add another complication to the situation because it might lead to a civil war kind of situation in the state. People's safety is also one important point. Secondly, Hyderabad Nizam, of course, yes, in the final phase, he was trying to remain independent. He was trying to, purchase Goa from Portuguese, right? He was also trying to, for coastline, he was also trying to, he complained actually in September The matter was also taken up by United Nations. He wanted to complain to United Nations. All these things are done, but end of the day, Hyderabad Nizam did not have as bad reputation as somebody else. His reputation is only gone worse because of MIM and car industry. Otherwise, he is a reasonable guy according to Patel. So they don't want to force him to enter into some agreement to avoid a civil war kind of situation. There are bigger issues at the national level for international level, national and international level for Nehru to stop violence on the border because of partition. You know, partition in August 1947 situation was very conflicting. There are a lot of violence happening. People did not know which was Pakistan side, which was India side. Nobody knew any borders. Lot of communal violence, looting, rapes and all that were happening. So, internal issue we can solve it later. Third point, what kind of action has to be taken? That is also a matter of thinking for the government of India and Patel. One, the national situation of partition, where more attention is to be paid to the division of the country and Radcliffe line and all that. Then, stopping communal violence in the border areas. Second, how to tackle with the already violent situation in Hyderabad. They should not add further to the complication. Then the confusion is what kind of action you take. See, even if you remember, we'll talk about this after some time also. Hyderabad operation is called police action. It is not called army. They actually sent army, they are not police. Right? There are two top leaders. One is Lieutenant General Maharaj Singh, is overall head, but actually the person who came is Major General Chowdhury. Okay? J.N. Chowdhury. J.N.T.M. Chowdhury. He is the man. We have another subordinate who is called Rudra. He is from Vijayawada actually. That also created a problem. Andhra person was sent later. Later, not then. There is no Andhra Telangana issue by that time. Okay? So, they are actually military leaders, army was sent. Why it was not called army sent? Because we don't send army on our own country. We can't invade our own country. So if you are saying that it is army, then the issue is we are not accepting that Hyderabad is part of India. Okay? So theoretically when we got independence, we are accepting that Hyderabad is part of India. So these are the three reasons why immediately the Patel did not send anything. So now this is August, September, October, November. By October and by 29th actually, there is some kind of peace, temporary peace for discussions, pending discussions. The government of India entered into something called standstill agreement with Hyderabad Nizam. So this is in November. Next is for the next discussion point for it is standstill agreement. These are the points we have to see. So, the importance of standstill agreement is that it is almost like a ceasefire kind of thing, where no further action will be taken by both the parties, both the government of India as well as Hyderabad state. And it is not written in the standstill agreement, but Patel also said that there is a need for Hyderabad state to ensure proper law and order. Okay, so that is also one of the conditions, oral conditions, that Patel put, that people's lives which are at stake in Telangana because of armed struggle and Rajakar violence has to be controlled. That is one more point. So this is a key phase where Nizam attempted many things encouraged by Pakistan. You know, we have Mahmud Ali Jinnah and Liaquat Ali Khan and all these people. They were trying to woo Hyderabad Nizam by saying that we will offer you the kind of autonomy you enjoyed under British India. So that is one option he was exploring. The other option is United Nations was just formed after Second World War, 1945. So he also got the idea that why can't we take it into United Nations as an issue. That is the second suggestion he was having, second plan he was having. The third issue was he was also mobilizing the army. See, some people don't understand the situation. How Nizam wanted to fight with Indian army, we never understand. He never had a proper army actually, because of subsidiary alliance. The main army of Nizam is only British East India Company, later British government. So he never had his own army. But then he was trying to mobilize the army. He wanted to at least muster a minimum of 1 lakh soldiers. So it did not happen, but that is one of the attempts he was doing. So this is one trend. The other important issue here is the violence. Armed struggle and Rajakar's violence was also happening. So every day there are a lot of thousands of people are being suffered. People were shot, dead. I am not giving all the details here because this paper it is not important in this movement paper, but in Telangana history we have to see later. So armed struggle is one very important event where you can definitely expect some question in Telangana history segment. And a lot of violence, people being shot dead, women being targeted, all these things were happening. So there was mounting pressure on the government from two sides. Government of India by September first week. What are the mounting pressure? One, his Nizam's contacts with Pakistan were not to the liking of the government of India. They are more destabilizing. So they are also a threat to the integrity of India. Already Pakistan, they had troubled us in Kashmir. So they don't want Hyderabad to become one more Kashmir because of Pakistan's intervention. So that is one reason. The another thing is the law and order. The pressure, there is a lot of pressure on Indian government by Hyderabad state Congress leaders, okay, who are already there. So Congress government, it is Congress government first, Jawaharlal Nehru led the government. So there is a lot of pressure from the Hyderabad leaders like Ramananda Tirtha, for example, is a very popular leader. Ramananda Tirtha and others, he was also imprisoned by Nizam in this point of time. Once September 18th, September 17th is the surrender. September 18th this man was also released, Ramanand Tirtha. So people like Burgula, Ramanand Tirtha, all these people, Hyderabad State Congress leaders, were also making lot of efforts to actually force government of India to intervene to save people. That is second reason why Operation Polo has to be initiated. The third reason is this United Nations issue. See, it is not tenable. Hyderabad state is not actually tenable, but the British government, when it was leaving India, it did say that the princely states are free to join whatever they wanted to do. There is a tricky concept of paramountcy. The English word for this is British paramountcy. Paramountcy means how British crown was dealing with the princely states. The argument is very simple. 1858 Queen's Proclamation said all the princely states will continue as part of British India. So when they leave, technically they become freedom. They become liberated. This is the argument of the British government and Mountbatten also. Even Mountbatten technically agreed that Hyderabad is an independent state. All 56 princely states were independent states, but others have accepted. They have to sign an agreement, that accession agreement, that I am becoming part of Indian Union. So there are pros and cons. If Hyderabad Nizam really takes the issue to United Nations. First of all, it is an unnecessary headache that can be avoided. Second, Government of India led by Nehru and Patel were not actually sure of the reaction the United Nations will have. It is just 5 we have veto power. It was a newly formed international organization. What kind of reaction it will have? What kind of decision it will have? Will it mean a overriding of United Nations decision for India? They don't want to rub them in the wrong way by that time. So better avoid the possibility at all. So mainly Patel always said this point is not said officially. We have Menon, VP Menon, who is a Home Secretary and also later advisor to Governor General on this. So he actually was saying that Patel gave the main reason. He actually wrote a book, The Story of the Integration of Indian States. This is written by Menon. He says the main reason for Operation Follow was actually the law and order situation, declining law and order situation. But from the examination point of view, analysis point of view, why there was Operation Apollo, we have to mention these 3 causes. So friends, in the mains, why am I explaining in detail like this question? Because in mains there could be 2-3 ways of asking questions on this. So we just need to have overall understanding why all these things happened and all that. So September 13th, 1948, Indian Army, which was called Police Action, of course, entered Hyderabad. This Chaudhary, I already told the names. Maharaj Singh is the lieutenant commander, then Lieutenant Colonel actually, then Lieutenant General, Major General Chaudhary and his subordinate Rudra. These people led this army, they entered. In fact, people of Hyderabad have welcomed this army, and there was no major clashes actually except with the Rajakars. The real Nizam army did not fight. It was under the command of L. Doras. They did not actually fight or offer any fierce resistance. But there were some people who were shot dead actually, because when this Indian army was trying to ensure peace in the rural Telangana, there are controversial reports. So Rajakars were resisting, not the Hyderabad Nizam's army, Rajakars were resisting. And there is a lot of grey area here which you can avoid in the examination. See, if you see left-oriented books written by leftist writers who criticize Congress and anti-government, they always say, see, even these army shot communists, who are trying to help the farmers with the armed struggle. But we cannot enter into any of these controversies. Our job is to get top rank, not ideology now, right? So obviously there was a not a fierce resistance. There was not much resistance, but Rajakars did resist Indian army, and they were ruthlessly crushed. So September 17th, Nizam accepted. 18th, his army, L. also surrendered. This is the end of Hyderabad story. The princely state of Hyderabad, which was set up in 1724 by Nizam, is actually now ended, became a part of Indian Union, and luckily we did not have any issues later on like Kashmir. Hyderabad became a Telangana became a very important segment of Indian economic growth and later subsequently. In fact, I like to know one thing what Modi said. I have no parties. BJP, we are teachers. I write to newspapers. I should be neutral. I cannot infuse my ideology into my students. Okay? My only ideology is to get you first rank, if possible. Maximum marks. Okay? So, but then what Modi said in the election campaign was very good. He said Telangana contributed to India's economic story. Yes, sir. So the kind of IT sector growth in Telangana, the kind of industries, pharma industry, and defense, MSMEs, do you know, there were 500 pharma units in Hyderabad. 500 only in and around Hyderabad. Okay, and the number of people working in Hyderabad in IT is almost 7 lakhs now. Earlier it was 2 lakhs, reverse figure says 7 lakhs. So much contribution. So luckily after the integration, Hyderabad became Telangana and Hyderabad became integrated part. Hyderabad state rather with Telangana became integrated part and it contributed. Now the last aspect for us is a discussion. The discussion is how do you understand the nature of this? What are the contemporary opinions and what are the contemporary views? See, basically if you see, we have two important things here, two words. One is called integration. The other one is actually, liberation. Friends, integration, another word for integration is merger. Right? Yes, sir. Merger. Then necessarily, this is positive. When we say integration or merger of Hyderabad, it had a positive connotation. It has a positive overtones. I merge my business with you. I merge my some assets with you, whatever. So not necessarily it is negative. We may have an understanding for merger. Now banks are merging. Yes, sir. Earlier banks, now we have only 12 public sector banks, right? Andhra Bank has been merged with Union Bank, SBI, all associate banks got merged. So it's not necessarily a war between Andhra Bank and Union Bank, right? It's a merger. So merger is a positive connotation, whereas liberation means release from something bad or something painful, from bad rule. When we say liberation, it actually translates to release from the bad rule of here Nizam, of course, Hyderabad state. So I already told you that 56 princely states were there. 53 were already integrated with Indian Union. There is no conflict. Even Kashmir was integrated. We did not have any problem with the Kashmir king, Har Singh. Right? He signed the agreement. Later, Pakistan is an issue for us, but Kashmir is also integrated positively. Junagadh integrated with plebiscite. Now here, Hyderabad is the only state where army was sent in the entire Indian Union after independence. So why army was sent? Because Nizam refused to integrate. So can we say it's an invasion? The third point is for us invasion, which is also related to, linked to liberation. Okay, these words are generally freely used by most of the people. Okay, now if you see contemporary writers, how people wrote in the time of the integration, let us say Menon. Okay, Menon actually worked with Patel, he is the Home Secretary. Okay, Menon did not use the word liberation, or integration, he had used the word invasion. Okay, on Nizam, not on the people, on the Nizam. He never used the word people, invasion on Hyderabad state, and he also action, police police action. So if you see Menon, I am giving these notes to you anyway, so try to understand whatever I say. So Menon uses the word action or attack or invasion. These are the three words used by Menon. children. Then we have Jayaprakash Narayan. Jayaprakash Narayan is also one important writer. He wrote a book called The Problem of Hyderabad. The Hyderabad Problem. The name of the book is The Hyderabad Problem. Next step. Immediate 1948 itself he wrote. Very fast. Who is Jayaprakash Narayan? He is a socialist, right? He is also a member of Congress Socialist Party, right? So, he said liberation. What context he said? Indian army, this is how he said, Indian army won victory over Hyderabad, but this liberation alone will not help. The next steps have to be done for the development of Telangana or integration. So if we extract his writings, Jayaprakash Narayan used the word liberation. Okay? So the next important aspect is, if you see V.K. Baba, you know, V.K. Baba is a very well-known writer, historian of Hyderabad, recently passed away actually. He also wrote a book called, the history of biography of Mir Usman Ali Khan, Jeevit Charitra, biography of Mir Usman Ali Khan. He wrote a book. He did not use liberation, he has used integration. Okay, then we have another important thing. There is a complete negative reaction also by some of the people by saying that it's an invasion on people of Telangana or Hyderabad, which is not accepted. See, fundamentally, friends, we should agree, despite our political affiliations, democracy is the best tool in the country. It has its problems. So, if Hyderabad state, which is a medieval monarchy, if it was being brought under democracy, absolutely there should not be any complaints. Democracies do fail. Not all governments deliver. Okay? But ఐదేళ్ళకోసారి మనకు ఆపర్చునిటీ ఉంది మార్చేయలేదు. Yes or no? You see, the central government twice they won a good majority. Now they have just got the largest party. That's it. So people have a power in them. ఏపీలో ఏమైంది? నేను బటన్ నొక్కాను ప్రజలు బటన్ నొక్కారు ఆయన వెళ్ళిపోయారు. Right? Yes or no? So the point I am trying to tell you is that democracy, we cannot call it as it is not fair to say that Indian Union, India is our country, invaded on Telangana or people of Telangana. It is not acceptable. There are some communist writers who wrote like this, somebody called Jay Surya and other anti-government writers, writers, anti-Congress left writers. Predominantly left writers have a problem. So the third point is, the other point here we need to see is, after integration or liberation, whatever, it has become politically significant. Why? In post-independent Indian politics, calling integration is positive to Hyderabad state. If you are saying liberation, that means Hyderabad Nizam was a cruel fellow. He troubled people, so people of Telangana got liberated from them. In the post-electoral election politics, caste-based politics, religion-based politics, criticism of Hyderabad Nizam is seen as criticism of the Muslims. Now see, BRS, I will give you an example. This example రాయద్దు, నేను notes ఇచ్చిందే రాయను. I am just generally explaining for your understanding. Now see, TRS and BRS only last year వాళ్ళు హైదరాబాద్ లిబరేషనే అని యాక్సెప్ట్ చేశారు. అంతకుముందు ప్రతిసారి they were saying only integration. They did not even celebrate the Liberation Day, which is celebrated by most of the other political parties and the people also. Okay, the reason is, when we say liberation, it is against Hyderabad Nizam, who was respected by many Muslims in Hyderabad and Telangana, so they don't get their votes. BJP is another way around. If it is saying liberation, then people who are upset with this kind of ism, see, all political parties are communal. నా ఉద్దేశంలో బీఆర్ఎస్, కాంగ్రెస్, బీజేపీ వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే ఓపెన్లీ కనిపిస్తారు. మిగతా వాళ్ళు ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు ఎగ్రీ, మతపరమైన పాలిటిక్స్ భారతదేశంలో అన్ని పార్టీల్లో ఉన్నాయి. సో Post-independent is aimed at the liberation or integration as assumed political interest. You simply write one sentence like that. Post-independent, the description of liberation or integration have political connotations in the electoral parties. So different ruling parties of the Hyderabad or Telangana, or in Andhra Pradesh, later Telangana from 2014, or even at the national level, Indian government had different comments on this. But now it is generally unanimously being accepted as liberation. From the academic point of view, definitely it's a law and order situation, friends. Definitely it is not a peaceful integration like other states because Nizam refused to surrender. So we need to argue that it has liberation, and we cannot say that it was an invasion, and we cannot say that it was invasion on the people of Telangana, transgression of their rights and others, because we need to welcome the transition from a medieval monarchy to a democracy. Okay, so that is how we need to see this thing. I will share notes on this, and the time increase we'll do from Monday because people are waiting for results. Some people. So I think results will be out very soon, in my opinion. And whether results are out or not, we'll have full time only from Monday, 1.5 hours. Okay. So we'll stop here. Friday I will send the notes to whatever topics I have sent in Q&A form. You start writing. Monday onwards we'll have full classes, and next Saturday onwards first test. I will be sharing notes anyway this Friday, only 2 days, tomorrow and day after. We have yesterday 3, 4, 5, 6 questions we will be doing. In fact, I think we will complete first unit by Friday, whatever time it takes, so that one unit we will have solid. First unit test will be on next Saturday. Okay, so we'll stop here. We will have Telangana history after some time. I think around 11.